Hello, Sagittarius. The Sun is square Jupiter on the 4th, and on the 6th, the Moon is trine Jupiter. Also, this month currently, Jupiter is transiting direct in Leo, and the planet Saturn is transiting retrograde in your sign of Sagittarius. Now, let's see how your ruling planet of Jupiter affects you this month, Sagittarius. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. This is an angelic horoscope transmission from your Sagittarius angel Adnachiel, who resides over your mutable fire nature, and these are his messages for you in love, money, and health. First, the love transmission, the priority. The fire angel Michael, who resides over the fire signs, he comes to you as your guardian angel, Michael or Michael. He comes to you through your specific Sagittarius angel, teaching angel of Adnachiel. So again, Michael is the guardian, the teaching angel is Adnachiel. Now there's a full moon on the 3rd of May in Scorpio. And Scorpio is a very creative water sign. Now you're a fire sign, but you're mutable fire, and you have a watery aspect to you because your ruling planet of Jupiter has a watery aspect. Therefore, you're going to be extra affected, if you will, by this particular full moon, again in Scorpio on the 3rd, and it's going to cause you to be extra creative when it comes to your emotional relationships, be they with friends or family or be they romantic. Now, the emotional aspect, which you need to keep a heads up on, is this. There's one part of dealing, of course, with emotional issues, and being creative about that, where one wants to make sure one is on the side of those who maybe one may feel have been treated unfairly. Sort of the underdog, so to speak, to be on the side of the underdog all the time. That's not always going to land you on the right side because, first of all, underdogs aren't always right, and second of all, there's always two sides to every story, or sometimes a great many sides to every story. So just make sure you get the story from everybody before you just listen to what one person says. Because some people outright lie. That's true. Other people exaggerate tremendously. Other people exaggerate a little or a lot, or in the sort of medium or mediocre exaggeration, and everybody does it a little bit. And then, there's some people who try to tell the truth very specifically all the time. So there's all kinds of people in the world, but the best thing to do is to try to listen to what everybody says. And what makes sense will lead you to the truth. So just go with what makes sense, and you'll find the truth. This is going to be very important for you, Sagittarius, this month when it comes to your emotional relationships, especially with this square, the Sun square Jupiter on the 4th is going to cause people who are, you might call authority figures, to have a contest with each other. But that's going to be an important aspect too on the 4th. But the day before that, with the full moon in Scorpio, that's going to kind of punctuate that, or set it up for that. Again, with this emotional aspect and the watery aspects. Okay. Now don't forget Mother's Day on the 10th. And again, on the 4th with this Sun square Jupiter, when there's a square, it's more of a fair contest, more of a discipline contest. Just remember that parents may be having a contest of sorts with each other, debate over something, or politicians, authority figures, people in religious positions of authority, maybe having some kind of a debate. So just be aware of that. And sometimes that can, you might not know what side to take. if you're someone who's an underling, you might not know which side to take. Whereas if you're one of the people involved, because you're a parent or a boss or something, and you're having a debate or a contest or friendly competition or a prearranged competition with somebody on your level, but again, they're higher ups, you pretty much know what to do. But just be mindful, if you're the one in the contest, be mindful of kids or underlings who are being affected by these types of debates or contests between those in higher ranking positions. It makes them nervous. So be aware of that. Then on the 17th, there's a new moon in Taurus. Heads up, this is going to make the worker bees all the more fashionable, or put the worker bee back in style, the middle class, the Labor Party, if you will, back in style. So just understand that that's going to happen the 17th with the new moon in Taurus, because that's sort of, hold back some of that I have or having aspect, if you will. Now, on the 4th, regarding the money transmission from a Nachiel, on May 4th, the Sun square Jupiter, again, the jousting between businesses or co-workers even, or bosses. Again, it's people on the same level that are doing the jousting. And just because it's a disciplined or prearranged or quote-unquote fair competition, that doesn't mean that it's not extremely significant. Because, of course, in some of, in the old-fashioned jousting contest, people got hurt badly. People can get badly injured, especially if they're, if they're doing sports for money, that kind of thing. And you want to make sure that people aren't, cheating. And they can cheat, of course. Just because it's regulated doesn't mean people cannot cheat. But cheating, is not advisable during this time, because people whose jobs it is to regulate are going to be paying extra attention. So people maybe who have gotten away with cheating in the past aren't going to get away with it this time. So not a good idea. Bad idea. On the 21st of May, Jupiter in conjunct, not conjunct, but in conjunct, kind of a challenging aspect to Pluto. That's going to cause Sagittarius to, because of this Pluto aspect, the sort of the deep unconscious, collective Jungian unconscious, if you will, the self versus others. So kind of the needs of Sagittarius versus the needs of other people, or the needs of Sagittarius versus the needs of Scorpio individuals. And this is going to bring some aspects out in yourself, Sagittarius, that you didn't know you had. It'll also do the same thing in Scorpio. It'll bring out aspects that Scorpio didn't know they had. So Scorpio will find themselves, because of this challenge to Jupiter, feeling that they may feel that they're in a role that, because it's not their martial aspect. Remember, they're ruled by two, Mars and Pluto. They're not going to come at it in a aggressive way that Mars would have. This is more of the unconscious part. So you might want to be aware that there could be a passive-aggressive aspect to this, because they don't like to be trying to hold back the aggressive aspect that is martial. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have it. They have an ability to be aggressive. So here we're just going to say a typical psychological cliche to be, everybody needs to be assertive but not aggressive. And if you're not assertive, you will be aggressive, but people might become passive-aggressive, which is even worse. All right. So that's in financial matters of money, because people don't like to admit that they will take care of themselves first and then others. They want to say, oh, no, I'd always take care of others first. no creature is actually built to do that. We're all built to receive for the sake of the self. So we have to, according to the Zohar, receive in order to share. And that helps. And remember, everybody's in the same boat. We're all just different aspects of learning how to receive from the Creator. That's all. We're different aspects of the Creator. Each sign and each of these specifics are different aspects of the Creator. Okay, now health. Anachiel's health transmission. Leo being direct, Jupiter currently being direct in Leo, that's going to heal the heart of Sagittarius. And Saturn currently retrograde in Sagittarius could cause the lower extremities to possibly become stiff. So what you might want to do is make sure that you're stretching and that kind of thing. And you might be tempted to go back to old ways of possibly a health program or exercise, and that's fine. Just because Saturn's retrograde, what you might want to do is make sure you stretch and don't overdo what you used to do in the past in order to get your optimum health. Okay? That should help with that aspect. And regarding how astrology affects everybody and how it's from the Creator is basically time, the serpent of time, the head and the tail of time, the Alpha and the Omega, which Jesus Christ is the Alpha and the Omega. That is the Creator. That is the head and the tail. That is time. So the Creator is, of course, above time, but the Creator invented time, so that's an aspect of the Creator. Obviously, God the Father is above the aspect of the Son, which is the time that God the Father created. So time, each of us, our lives are events in time. We have a beginning, we have an end. The head and the tail of our time. And that's one aspect of us. And we are one aspect of God's great divine clock. We're one great widget in His mighty machine. And the more we receive for the sake of sharing, the more we become like the Father, and the more we are not locked into time and are yet eternal and immortal. All right, now, Sagittarius, to continue with some of your aspects and facets in May that we want to pay attention to. And don't forget Mother's Day again on the 10th. Okay. Jupiter, this is your afterglow. Jupiter is currently direct in Leo. This is a positive aspect. And this causes you to be able to actually feel more creative, feel more courageous. It's not that you aren't creative, it's that you don't have the courage to express yourself creatively when it was retrograde. Now that it's direct, you have more courage again, Sagittarius, to express yourself creatively. And let the creative aspects inside you come out. So that's what this current transit of Jupiter direct in Leo will help you with. It's going to be that way all month. So it's a good month for that. And it's a good month to utilize these creative aspects to share with Mom, because it's the Mother's Day season on the 10th. Okay. Saturn currently being retrograde in Sagittarius. Again, this brings up old laws, old-fashioned ways of doing things, past ways of doing things, going back to past situations, going back to past friendships, or past, again, health routines, or, people that you saw in the past, going there again. That's going to come up for Sagittarius. And that's again going to be during this month of May. Now on the 4th we have Sun square Jupiter. That's the aspect, because the Sun and Jupiter are these powerful rulers. Jupiter being royalty, and the Sun being more of a creative aspect. These aspects are going to be in a disciplined contest with each other. So it doesn't have to get unpleasant. It can be pleasant, and it will be, because it's sort of a go for it. And that's especially true because of the Jupiter currently direct in Leo, because Leo is ruled by the Sun. So you understand. So this has to do between Leos and Sagittarius having contests, and a friendly contest to kind of go for it. So this is a point where this is good for sports, or jousting, or fencing, heavy and light fighting in the Society for Creative Anachronism, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Okay. On the 21st, we have Jupiter in conjunct Pluto. Again, that's not conjunct, that's in conjunct. Jupiter in conjunct Pluto on the 21st. That's a challenging aspect between Sagittarius and Scorpio, or between Sagittarius and the part of you that is very generous, because Sagittarius is very generous indeed. And the dark side of Pluto, the deep Jungian unconscious mind, the shadow side, which wants to also unveil aspects of the self that aren't necessarily selfish, but more you haven't known about yourself before. And some of these things could be actually very wondrous and creative and fascinating, because there are things that you never knew about yourself. You know, like discovering a new planet, or discovering a new, something just never knew it could exist before. Because just the logical brain sets things in certain categories, obviously. And then within that, then comes the odd or the bizarre concepts that people think are impossible, but are never impossible. Nothing that you can think of is impossible. Anything you can imagine has already happened in some dimension, somewhere. Everything you can think of. So this Jupiter in conjunct Pluto, and just be careful of passive-aggressive behavior between you and Scorpio, especially in the love or money arenas. Okay. Now on the 6th, the moon trine Jupiter. That's going to be a very healing time emotionally, and a very healing time for the subconscious aspects. On the 11th, the moon opposing Jupiter, that will bring that into a more difficult aspect. And an interesting teaching from the Zohar states that the more light that you receive, the more forms in yourself are created. All right. Thank you, Sagittarius. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel, and join us again next month.